Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Feliz Quinta-feira. I am Krishan Wright. I am the founder of Blaxit Global, the host of the Blaxit Global podcast. Blaxit Global exists to help black folks get out of Dodge and get to greener pastures. Why? Because greener pastures really do exist. I am in my greener pasture. I am in my home in Lisbon, Portugal. Hope you are doing well. This has been from when I last saw you, or you last saw me, to now, it has been a week for Black people. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it tonight. I, like many of you, have been on an emotional roller coaster the past few days and wanted to talk about protecting our peace because for a variety of reasons, and hopefully you've seen the YouTube description, you know what I mean. Misogynoir is real. They are and have been playing in our faces. And of course, I wouldn't be me if I didn't have an opinion on it. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before I do, I want to say hi to y'all in the chat and, my usual announcements. I know from my last video, it had like a lot of views. Some people were not new to me or were new to me and had an opinion. If you express your opinion politely, you get to stay. If you don't, you get to go. So let's say hello to who's first in the chat. Hey Pinky, how you doing? Happy Thursday. The ABX girl is in the house. Jan, how you doing? Hey Charlie, how are you? Yes, it has been a week. It has been a week. And it being abroad definitely is a buffer, but you still have to protect your peace, right? I had to actively take steps to protect my peace. So yeah. Hey Helen. Yes, I have a lot to say. And I've been thinking about how to say it, I think mostly this week, which is why the announcement for today's live was late, because I was like, hey, maybe I'll go with the Ask Me Anything, or I had so many ideas. And so I just had to follow my gut, which is what we're going to talk about. Hey, my brother's here. She is in the bed because I put her little butt to sleep. Hey, Stephen is a channel member. Hello. Yes, thank you. The Krishanisms, yes. I am going to lay some. Hey, homie. Hey, Nicole. Thank you. Yeah, I had to mix it up in which is a nice segue to the announcements. In just a few days, like, what is it, next Friday? I think it's next Friday. Yeah. Because, when you live abroad, you do not have a concept of time. Time doesn't exist. But, next Friday, we welcome the first cohort of our Nomad Noir. Yes, they will be descending on Portugal. And I will be their hostess with the mostest. So part of the reason why I did not take my naps that I normally do today was because I'm running around trying to get stuff like together for our Nomad Noir cohorts. And then they will be here for 3 weeks. And then right after that, we have our 1 week cohort. So putting the final touches on the itinerary, making sure I have everything for the ladies. It will be added to the description of this video. I realized I didn't put it on there. But yeah, either this video or any of the others, you can hit the description, join the waiting list if you're interested in Nomad Noir for 2025. I am leaning toward doing 2, but I will not be sure for a little bit of time. But wanted to let you know that. Definitely those, because I actually had a coaching session today. Phenomenon. Lots of y'all are booking coaching sessions, one-on-one sessions, which I understand why. And so definitely take advantage of that. That'll also be added to the description, or you can check one of the other videos. But yeah, the coaching schedule has been keeping me busy. A lot of you just need help like sharpening your plan and of course support. Today I had a lovely conversation with someone who is migrating from the UK, which we do have actually people in Blaxit Global Passport, our private community. It is not just Americans in there, and it's not just people aspiring to move abroad, but definitely get in, get plugged in. You will get the support you need to get from where you are now to where you want to be. So for some people, it's Portugal. And with that, I am happy to announce that we have the wait list for the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. So definitely, if you're not on the waiting list, you want to get on the waiting list because it's happening first weekend in November. Some updates, started working on some of that with the speakers this week. So jam-packed, not just for those who are interested in moving to Portugal, but for those who are already living in Portugal. So little switch up. But not going to disclose anything yet. We're going to do a big announcement in some time. What else did I want to tell you? I think those are the big ones for now. Let me think. Oh, those of you in Blaxit Global Passport, our private community, as I mentioned, we have our accountability check-in for August. I believe that's going to be on the 10th of August. Just trying to finalize where the Nomad Noir crew and I will be. So I will put that on the calendar rather. But for those of you who have not joined Blaxit Global Passport, it would be a good time because our accountability groups are what get you abroad, okay? And so some of our original 12 are in the chat, like Nicole. The accountability groups are game changers. So you want to get in there, you want to get the support, you want to be in fellowship, sisterhood, the whole 9, because America be American right now. I mean, always, but especially right now. Yes. Hey, good morning from Shanghai. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Yes. Hey, Helen. Hey, KB. How you doing? Hey, Susan. Hey, Greta. Hope you're feeling well. Yes, you can join Blaxit Global Passport, and we have an event calendar. So I put the lives, workshops. We don't do workshops too much in the summertime because schedules are a little crazy, but every month we have accountability group. So definitely look for the link for that. I'll add what I usually add below the video after. It's just, I've been out all day. No Pilates today though, but yes, I've been out all day. So yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. I don't want to belabor it anymore. Whew, I don't know, y'all. It's stressful. It's stressful. So before the announcement, obviously the announcement about Vice President Harris being passed the torch and endorsed by Joe Biden to run for election in 2025, or well, 2024 election. I was already, and for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen it, or my own handle, that I was sharing about the Sonya Massey murder in advance of the release of the video on Monday, because I was talking about the fact that it was coming out on Monday, kind of brace yourselves, and reading some of the articles. Some were lighter on the details. I think NBC, from what I remember, had more of a partial transcript of what went down, which for me personally, as someone who despises America's obsession with commodifying Black trauma and murder, the transcript was enough for me to kind of paint a disturbing picture of what happened. A lot of things were disturbing about it, and again, because I had watched George Floyd's murder, much like the rest of the world, Ahmaud Arbery being chased down, Breonna Taylor, and then when you think about different documentaries I had watched over the years, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Alton Brown, there's so many names, Atiana Jefferson, Botham Jean, right? The psyche can only take so much. And I remember, and that is why, and I actually was just giving an interview shortly before going live about how Blaxit Global was born. Blaxit Global was born out of 2020 and all that 2020 was. And it was seeing, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and feeling helpless, hopeless, and knowing that in 2017, when I set out to definitively, unequivocally move abroad in 2023, I had to finally draw a line in the sand. And moving abroad was my lifelong dream, but fits and starts. And then it was finally like, I don't care. Hell or high water, I don't care. It's going to happen. And then when 2020 happened and 2020 was 2020ing, I got depressed, right? And it was that depression and realizing that if I had succumbed to the thoughts that I was having in my head, the feelings that I was feeling, the level of suspicion that I had of those around me, if my mind went, guess what? Everything else falls apart, right? For my family, for myself, my finances, like the whole plan falls apart. And so I channeled that and I redirected that energy into creating Blaxit Global. And Blaxit Global continues to exist because of the impact of the work that I do to help people, to inspire people. But it also continues to exist because of the shit that happens, right? That continues to happen. And as somebody who started this in 2020 and have seen different levels of migration, and I really do feel that Blaxit is the next great migration, I was seeing segments, right? People who are steadfast on their plan, people who are already abroad, people who had not considered it but are serious about it, people who have money, don't have money, the whole gamut. But there are some people who are very reactionary because it's like, oh, this happened and now I'm doing it. And the challenge is you have to be clear on your why, because America has not stopped, okay? It has not stopped. Our ancestors that were brought over during chattel slavery, everything else has been an optimization, even as we sit here in 2024. Everything else has been an optimization. And so it doesn't really matter what they do, it matters what you do. And in order to have the clarity and peace of mind, it's hard, but you have to tune out a lot of the noise. For me, that meant I could not watch the video. That means I will not watch the video. That means if I see the video on social media and it pops up without a blur or anything else, I'm reporting that video because I am choosing not to engage with that content, right? That's part of protecting my peace. Part of protecting my peace is I was consuming part of the news, obviously, because one, I need to know what's going on in the world and I have loved ones. But two, a lot of things were happening over the weekend. But I also had to catch myself when I was spending a little too much time consuming content and, the news cycle, and they have these pundits that, have opinions. That also has to have its place, right? Time bound it, right? Put a timer on it, but make sure you have some controls around how much you consume, because we are inundated with information. And that's just the things that you can do in your immediate environment, right? Social media, because we all have these phones, and TV. But then, if you're like me, right? When I was still working full time, whether it be in an office or in a remote environment, America is not just the police and the government, right? It's the people that interact with the systems. And I've said it for months on this channel, right? America has gotchas everywhere. And so you go to work after a very tumultuous weekend, and it's like, oh, hey, how you doing? How was your weekend? I don't know, Bob. How should I feel about a black woman getting set up and murdered in her own home for following the directive of a police deputy who never should have been a deputy after 2 DUIs in other departments who should be held accountable for kicking the can of this ticking time bomb that ultimately led with her losing her life senselessly. How should I feel? Right? And part of that is, right, in some cases, avoiding those situations. But again, if you're in the work environment, those situations sometimes can't be avoided. And they feign, it was just an innocent question. Oh, I wasn't thinking. It was thoughtless. It wasn't racist. Fuck you. Fuck your feelings. Because we know what you're doing. You playing in our face. From the top down. All of them. All of them. Right? They've been doing it forever. And now, or for some time, they've been emboldened by the orange one and his funders to keep ratcheting it up. And we're expected to swallow our feelings, swallow our emotions for the sake of not acting out and having a job or whatever the case may be. The challenge with that is it also feeds into this, we can take everything, we can put it all on our cape, right? No, sometimes protecting your peace is giving them a little smoke. Okay? Because if we continue to show ourselves as emotionalist beings, it feeds into that superwoman trope. And I'm tired. I've been tired. Y'all been tired. You've been seeing your grandma's tired, your mama's tired, your auntie's tired. Aren't we all tired? Aren't we all tired? Like literally, we had the world behind us in 2020. And what did they do? They do what they usually do. Feign allyship. Black tiles. Oh yeah, we're going to put this money into DEI. Oh, we're going to put forth these initiatives. Oh, we're going to have more black people represented on TV. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that, right? We're going to have these, I forgot what they used to call them, like, straight talk sessions and things like that. Oh, we're going to normalize things, right? Create equity. And what I saw, as somebody who's been in this game for a long time, was no accountability. None. No visibility into how much was being spent, where, with whom. No report, no tying DEI or any of these promises to meaningful outcomes. So basically, it was some, highly paid PR person doing their job, and people took it, nodded, and went about their business. Meanwhile, things that actually mattered to us fell by the wayside. Our people were murdered, and we got Uncle Ben off the box and Aunt Jemima off the jar. And then Juneteenth, which I understand the importance of Juneteenth. That is not lost on me. But you're actually celebrating the fact that people were freed for 2 years, and y'all finally got around to telling them? Help me, Sway. Help me understand that. My favorite word was the corporation who shall not be named that waited 2 years, even after it was made a federal holiday, to add it to the calendar and give people a day off. I mean, kind of ironic, don't you think? Playing in our faces. And so while we got those things, right, in Joe's haphazard Juneteenth rollout, that, of course, America, being a corporation and not a country, wanted to, again, commodify it, because we saw, Juneteenth ice cream, T-shirts, Walmart, right? Meanwhile, the things that did matter, the things that would have, had they been implemented, might have saved Sonya Massey's life. I know the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. 4 years now after his murder, nothing. But I bet you that anti-Asian hate crime bill passed in a nanosecond. It took over 40 years, 40, I want to make sure I enunciate this properly, for the anti-lynching bill, which was introduced after the murder of Emmett Till, 40 years for that to pass. And I'm going to take a leap here, but the only reason that it passed was because of George Floyd's murder. And how heinous it was, how public it was. Had it not been for the internet and people having their phones and social media, and for it going to the world so that America could not hide. And now this orange dictator wannabe is literally campaigning and saying that he wants to give police immunity. All police. So that means that little bitch that pulled that, right? Who literally came in that home and targeted her. That was a setup. He wanted to kill, which is why he's facing 3 counts of, right, murder in the first degree. Seems like his superiors realized, this was some shit. He would not be able to do anything. He wouldn't have been allowed to be on the force had the George Floyd justice and policing legislation been passed. And now, I can't even say his name, 45 wants to give somebody like that immunity from prosecution. For those people that are sitting on the sidelines thinking that, because all this money that's going to Kamala, it's going to be a slam dunk. Or, because there's so much momentum, you don't have to vote. Or, because of anything that you think you know about her in the past. You got to kind of wait and see. That wait and see, that, black women have to prove themselves, right? Or black people in general, twice as hard to get half as much. Come on now. How many of us been sitting in roles, sisters, y'all know, bringing the sauce, bringing the spark, bringing the magic, and somebody, hater, right, tries to dim your light either in your face or behind your back. And then you're like, why wasn't I promoted? Why was I taken off of this? Right? Because somebody's doing the right? That's the same shit that's happening to her now. Because if a DA, Attorney General, Senator, Vice President isn't enough qualifications for you, you really have a problem. Really. Because you really need to realize and think about how you are contributing to Misogynoir. Because every man that exists in this world came out of a vagina. Newsflash. Right? And I have a daughter and a son. I want her to do what she wants to do about her body. I want my son to do what he wants to do with respect to his body. And if he chooses a partner and they decide about what they may want to do with a future offspring, either one of my children, that is their business. I don't need the government who, I'm sorry, last time I checked, the Republican Party was about less government, but now we want to be all in people's homes, drawers, and all this other stuff. Very reminiscent of the time in which McCarthyism, communism, right? The thought, the mere suspicion of it, where people were spying on their neighbors. Like, watch a couple documentaries, watch a couple films. History is cyclical. And so people think that, oh, so it's somebody else's problem and kick the can. I've been sounding the alarm. I know other people have been sounding the alarm. Connect the dots. I said it a few months ago when they came for the Fearless Fund. Connect the dots. When I saw companies pulling out of DEI initiatives well before it became public. Why? Because these are the same corporations that have PACs that fund things like the Heritage Foundation, that fund things like the, Trump's all those PACs, all those conservative think tanks. Connect the dots. Because they were surprised that we had so many gains. Because think about it. They didn't want us to read. They didn't want us to go to the same schools. And they damn sure didn't think that we were going to catch up so quickly to where we have seats at the table, right? Tish James, who I used to work with 20 some odd years ago, right? Is holding 45's ass to task in New York. She's a bad mamma jamma. He should be very afraid, right? A black president. So now they're like, ho, ho, ho. What we are seeing is a white lash, still remnants from Hurricane Obama. Because literally, when Trump had that mosquito bite on his ear, they said, "Oh, who do you think did this?" And they were like, "Who's behind this?" And these little, Cornhuskers were like, "Obama." Then they had these other dumbasses on, I forgot, I think maybe it was Fox. I've just seen clips where one of them was a school teacher, maybe several of them, who knows. And they were talking about, I don't know about Kamala. I'm a school teacher, and if I didn't do my job, girl. A, this is a video for why we should be taking and having our own schools. But B, like, did you not read Project 2025? You know, the book banning crew that is going to put teachers and librarians in jail? Okay. All they have to do is to get you to vote against your own interests. I mean, they're the reasons why Hillary wasn't the first female president. They tried to pin it on us. And let this be a lesson, especially as we get ready to go further into this election cycle. They will try, as they have been, to pin this on us. She's the DEI candidate. Yeah, she's the DEI candidate. She's the childless, what they call it, cat lady, like all of that stuff. They're going to say all kinds of things to distract us, to get under our skin. They are trash ass people. Straight up trash. And they need to be shut down. And the more we get into this cycle, the hotter it's going to get. They're talking about the AKAs, the Divine Nine. What is it? Like this, newscaster, whatever he wants to call himself on Fox, said, oh, she being Vice President Harris, her proper title, chose not to go to, genocidal campaigner Netanyahu's speech. And he says, oh, but, didn't cancel the colored sorority appearance. Colored? And then Fox put out a statement talking about, oh, we misheard that. He said college. Dog whistles, gaslighting, the whole bit. Right? America, mindfuck 101. Right? Rinse and repeat. But you have to protect your peace. So part of that, like I said, is tuning out or refining where you get your sources of information, time binding, how long you indulge with some of this content. But then action and accountability is the big one, the biggest one, right? Why is that important? Because if we continue to swallow our feelings, it's not going to help. I know I've had the anti-HR lady on here before. Document things. If they saying slick shit, document it. Because guess what? You can turn around and either sue for discrimination, be thrown paper, monetary paper currency, so that they can be like, okay, we're just gonna give you money so you can go somewhere. And by somewhere, maybe leave the country, take a career sabbatical, go on vacation, whatever. Help them fund your piece. Right? So they know they can't keep doing this slick shit. Accountability is key. Because keeping it in, having it be in a vacuum is part of what perpetuates it. Because it's in their DNA. If it weren't in their DNA, this would have been dealt with a long time ago. Oh, our ancestors did a really bad thing for hundreds of years. Wow, we benefited from that. We should do something to make it right and create space for equity. But instead, we have highly overpaid CEOs, corporations that under the law in the United States are considered people, valuations of companies that are not even in its orbit, but yet y'all don't have any money for reparations. And yet we pay, right, reparations for Holocaust, and the U.S. was not in that, right? Literally, there have been people who had photographic evidence of participating in Nazi Germany and were held at trial at The Hague. And we as Black Americans either know from family or archival footage, documents of banks, people who held enslaved people, some of whom have gone on to become president, who participated in lynchings, photographic evidence, but yet none have been brought to prosecution, including the white woman that lied and said that Emmett Till whistled at her. She had an outstanding warrant and was still alive. And they didn't bring her in. she got the opportunity to die outside of a jail cell, not with a cotton gin at the bottom of a lake. And that was post George Floyd. Right? Accountability, lack of accountability means this is going to continue. And we got to put a stop to it. And how do we put a stop to it? We got to hit them in the wallet. What happened in the past, right, is a predictor of the present. So how were we able to affect change when previous generations had less? Well, a couple things. One, we might have not had as many rights as they did, but what we did have, which they quickly learned, was we did have an economic base. We did have the ability to mobilize. But guess what? We have that ability now. We have social media, right? We have podcasts. We have this. We have so many things at our disposal. We have more information now at our fingertips than at any other time in humanity. That's why for those people like, I don't know enough about Kamala. I don't know what she did at the border. If you're mad about the news filtering information to benefit one side versus the other, why would they put what she's actually doing on in the news? Do your Googles. Go watch C-SPAN. Like, you can't just be on the sidelines in this. The stakes are too high. You just can't. And I say this with understanding that this is a nuanced conversation, right? Meaning, on the one hand, yes, democracy is at stake, right? We have loved ones that are sitting there. I live abroad, right? Some of us are in the process of moving abroad. Some of us are already abroad. There's a continuum, right? At the end of the day, many of us are still there. And so there are some, and I'm not going to discount that there are some people like, you know what? All empires fall, all democracies, right? America's still a young country, which does stupid shit because that's what, young people do. I remember young Krishan. Anyway, I digress. And so some people are like, hey, shit, let the chips fall where they may. I'm tired of saving y'all asses. You created this shit, right? I can't entirely disagree with that, right? I can't. Because does that, or could that, I should say, open the door to our reconstruction? We have to get to a point of economic self-sufficiency. It is a very big hurdle now because we were sold a bag of goods about, integration, meritocracy, even DEI, all of that, right? Minus reparations. And I get it. I get it. I get the ones that are saying, oh my gosh, we got to go out and vote. I don't disagree, right? As somebody who was in politics for over 10 years, I don't disagree. Again, this is a very nuanced conversation. Yet at the same time, this moment is also an opportunity to learn from the past. We can't expect Black faces in high spaces to save us. I'm going to say it again. We cannot expect Black faces in high spaces to save us. It requires action. Because if it were solely Black faces in high spaces, how do you account for Uncle Clarence, who benefited from it for affirmative action and then lit that bitch up with C4? And I'm grateful for Sister Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? I am very grateful for her. But we have 6 to 3, and they have lifetime appointments. So even voting in this election, right, potentially doesn't change the court's composition. The same court that basically is giving presidential immunity to someone who I think I remember, because, you know, America tends to gaslight. I think I remember him telling a bunch of thugs to go and overthrow the government because he had his little small hand feelings hurt about losing to Joe. Mike said, I'm right, because Trayvon happened during the Obama years. Correct. And that is another example. It's okay to get excited about a candidate. It's okay to see and be refilled and filled with hope, right? I mean, Obama ran on hope, right? The audacity of hope. All of these things are good. However, remember, this is a nuanced conversation. Accountability is key. Why is that important? Because just rubber stamping somebody because they look like you, in and of itself, is a bit lazy and problematic. Again, Uncle Clarence. Right? And I'm not here to dispute the presidency of Obama, right? It's to say that there are lessons that can be learned. Meaning, if we as a people, and again, nuanced conversation, because I know we are not a monolith. However, stay with me. If we as a people come up with tangible platforms that are important to us, and again, hold these people accountable, meaning push very forcefully on the Congressional Black Caucus, because these are the people that are representative and also in the room, on our agenda. Yes, NAACP, y'all got to do some shit other than image awards. In essence, too, right? Push our meaningful agenda to hold our candidate accountable. And we say, in exchange for these votes, right? We will provide these votes, we will provide these delegates, but we want something meaningful in return. Because last time I checked, J. Edgar Hoover, who was director of the FBI for 50 years, 50. I am 50. So that's a long damn time. For half a century, meanwhile, MLK, RFK, JFK, right? Medgar Evers. Let's see, who else? Fred Hampton. Lot of people were unalive during that time. He had dossiers on a lot of people, right? Including Billie Holiday for singing Strange Fruit. Still very poignant today and relevant. Eartha Kitt, Aretha Franklin. So yes, Obama was president, but guess what? J. Edgar Hoover's name was still on that building. I want to see that name off in my lifetime. That would be a good start. Reparations would be a great start. And not no damn study to the da-da-da-da-da. We cannot keep, we're going to take a little bit here. Next generation will chip a little bit there. Meanwhile, we've got Bezos, Musks, all these jokers that are billionaires running around. You would take all of the black billionaires, all of them, and it won't equal one Warren Buffett, one Elon Musk, one Jeff Bezos. Again, economic self-sufficiency. We have to start decoupling ourselves from the system. I read something recently and it said the black dollar, no, it was a white dollar. I'm not going to remember all of it, but it was going by ethnicity and how certain communities, certain ethnicities, and every dollar earned circulates for a specific period of time. Some of them 2 weeks. Black people, we were less than 24 hours. Where are the black banks? They got gobbled up. And best believe, because I said it earlier this year when it came for the Fearless Fund, and they said, this is an example of what's to come. Trust and believe if you let 45 become 47, the next kill shot is going to be HBCUs, because that is part of the pipeline that is enabling a soon-to-be hopeful president of first female black president in the United States. And they don't have to do anything like, they just can't exist. What did I say? America's a corporation. All they have to do is say, oh, you know what? We are not going to have public funding for race-based educational institutions. Because Howard, Harry, all of them, they aren't sitting on these multiple $billion endowments like the Harvards, the Yales, the Princetons of the world. Goes back to what I said about economic self-sufficiency. That is why you have to vote. That is why it's important to be engaged in this election. These are the things that are at stake. So yes, while you might not have children, you might have grown children, but you got cousins, you got aunties, you got somebody. Read Project 2025 or skim it. Skim the low notes. They want to dismantle Medicare. These are going to be things that are important to you. I know, as somebody who is now 50 years old, when I was sitting there and I was plotting and planning my move abroad, guess what was top of the list that was concerning for me? Healthcare, and realizing that I didn't want to work forever, that I wanted to enjoy my life and my money. And I didn't want to be in a country that, I had to choose between feeding my dog or eating my dog's food because I was hungry and I had to pay for medicine. Okay, I said a lot. I did have a list. And then I'm going to go into the comments because I've been talking for a while. So, like I said, I did struggle this week with, am I going to come with all the heat or some of the heat? Because I did a lot last week, so I'm trying to temper it. But, yeah. So I had a couple of things that, again, going back to protecting our peace and holding people's asses accountable, things for us to consider, right? And again, it's not to be passive and be like, oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, we should do that. And then you turn your laptop off or your phone or your iPad and go to sleep. And then that's it, right? Share the video, like the video, but also take inspired action. I took inspired action today. I called up United. I canceled my United card. I was like, that's it. They said, oh, Miss Wright, why? You've been with us since 2019. I said, Terrell Davis. The line went silent. Only one person asked me again, and I was like, but then when I said it the second time, she got it. Because I was like, look, I've worked in corporate America for Fortune 50 companies for a long time at all levels. Baby, I already know there was a comms plan, all that other shit. Or I could be thinking, am I the first one? If we don't start hitting their asses in the pockets, more of this will continue. So I implore you to take inspired action. Okay, so I'm gonna get to my list. Because I said sometimes you need to draw people a picture since, what are the things that I as a Black person would hope that other Black people would want and hopefully push on their elected officials, and especially the Black Congressional Congress, right? Let's see, what time is it? 11:30. I was like, okay, let me make sure I can get this all out. So I'm going to read the list first. But yes, push on the Black delegation and also presumptive presidential candidate Kamala Harris, right? Because I know there's going to be somebody who's going to say, oh, I know we want reparations, but now is not the time to have this conversation because it's going to scare the white folk. Stop centering whiteness. That's part of the problem. They do shit to us all the time and they don't worry about us. Okay. So, first on the list, reparations. I already talked about that. Take J. Edgar Hoover's name off the damn building. Oh, yes, this one's a big one. Remove Edmund Pettus's name off the bridge. Because guess what? Brother John Lewis was on the bridge Bloody Sunday. He served his country well. Yet when he died, they carried his body over the bridge that still bore that racist asshole's name. But I bet you if Trump's bee sting was fatal, oh, the airports, everything would have been renamed within 48 hours. Take his name off the bridge. Sensible gun legislation. I know the white folks do not want us to be like having guns because they still have images of the Black Panthers being armed and all of that, which is why, you know, every time they see us, they envision a gun even when there isn't one. Now we can't be in our homes with a pot of water. And then they'll say, oh, you know, the answer is more guns. No. Sensible gun legislation. Ban AR-15s and those buck stops. I don't know. I only been to the shooting range once, and only because I wanted to know how to use one in case they got stupid. Restore. Fully restore, right? The ability for the Fearless Fund to continue to do its job and fund us. Black women are the highest, and well, two things because I can't commingle the two. So we are the fastest demographic of entrepreneurs in the United States, Black women. We are also the highest educated of any demographic, which is why they are coming for us. So we need the Fearless Fund restored so that Black funders and founders can connect. Tighten up legislation to stop the distillation of DEI initiatives. Because I saw something today. I shared it in Blaxit Global Passport. I'm pretty sure I did. But I have been seeing, like I said, I saw the DEI initiatives getting pulled back before, you know, because they were seeing the tide. And not just the tide turning from the news, but also where they were directing their dollars, corporations. And, you know, you saw, what was it, last Friday was the big tech meltdown with CrowdStrike, and it crippled Delta, American. Actually, the flight system is not even back. But interestingly enough, Microsoft, so it was all of those corporations that were running a particular version of Microsoft's system that was susceptible to this outage from CrowdStrike. And coincidentally, this happened the day after Microsoft had basically disbanded its DEI team. And Microsoft isn't the only one. Like, Google has pulled out. Some other companies have pulled out of their DEI initiatives. And, you know, publicly, right? Because they're 10 toes down. Oh, you know, I know we said this shit in 2020, but, you know, it's not business critical. I want to see these assholes do an about face when they have a black female president. And the reason why this is so important, because I want you to connect the dots. I want you to pay attention to the news. I want you to pay attention when you're on LinkedIn, right? And you see somebody that looks like you doing a rah-rah for their company, knowing damn well that they're going to gun for them too. Because that tells you that they are disingenuous. Do not spend your dollar. Do not spend your hard-earned black dollar where they would not hire you. And I don't mean hire you as a security guard, because they have no problem when they need protecting or they have something to protect. They have no problem hiring us for that. Connect the dots, y'all. Pass the Crown Act on a federal level. Oh, yes. Congratulations to Puerto Rico, because they passed, I think, their version of the Crown Act today. They banned racial discrimination over hair today. I shared that in the group. I do remember that. Protect HBCUs, right? Protect them. Because all of the civil rights legislation, they are using it and claiming reverse racism, right? Protect HBCUs. Increase opportunities for homeschooling and world schooling. Because guess what? We need to get our kids out of these schools. Because we're going to jobs and we're dealing with microaggressions while our kids are in school being taught by these people who are also acting with malice to them, teaching them that slavery benefited those that were enslaved because they learned skills, right? Putting them in different classes. Like, we have to pay attention to who's teaching our kids. Enact the George Floyd Justice in Policing legislation ASAP. And border protection laws, right? John Lewis's legislation has been kicking around for years. Again. So I'm a fan of us not working until they come to the table. Just like the Montgomery bus boycotts, that went on over a year. People walked a long time. Sit-ins at Woolworths. We need to have a big economic showing, not this burning shit down. Let's play it out. They need to feel it. They need to feel it because they need to know what's at stake. Right now, they don't feel like, they feel like they can keep doing these things to us and getting away with it, is what they feel. Because they have. It's not an incorrect assumption, right? So until we say, oh, we're not doing it, we're not tolerating this shit, or we're going to sue your ass, and that's why I said last week about everybody get health insurance or life insurance. When you fly in the unfriendly skies. Until they start feeling it in their pocketbooks, in their wallets, it's not going to matter to them. Literally writing Black Lives Matter was an offense to them. I read today on, I think in New York Times, or maybe it was CNN, Whole Foods just settled with an employee that they fired in 2020 because I don't remember what gender, so I'm going to say they were wearing a Black Lives Matter face mask. And they said, oh, that violates corporate policy because some people would find it offensive. What people? So they fired this person. And I love it. They sued their asses. And it's been kicking around this case for 4 years. Surprisingly, today they settled. I wonder what made them do it. Could it have been because there's now, I don't know, a juggernaut that most likely could become president, the first female president of the United States? Don't know. Yeah, but there's no accountability, and they know that. That's why they're doing all of this stuff. We have to provide accountability. Put their asses on blast and let the chips fall where they may. Because guess what? The next thing they're going to do is lay blame. Right? Right? Goes back to what I said, and I know I'm going a couple places. But Hillary, when she lost, oh, black women didn't vote for. I'm sorry. I wasn't great in math. But there are 323, roughly 323 million Americans. Black people make up 13% of the total U.S. population. 45 million, more like 42, but let's say 40. Easy math. That's all people, right? Old, young, babies, the whole nine. Okay, so then you have to slice it again. Eligible voters, those who are of voting age, registered, not incarcerated, depending on state, not a felony. So let's cut it another way, right? To 20, just merely for illustration. Okay, well then there's never 100% participation in any election, irrespective of ethnicity. So, okay, we got to slice it again, but we'll stay with the 20. That also presumes that not all 20 million would be Democrat or Republican. I'm a registered independent, right? Okay. So, if you mean something, even if we did half, right? And we said, okay, 10 million Republican, 10 million Democrat. And there's 50 million Latinos, 50 to 55 million Latinx. And, but literally 275 million whites. I wasn't great at math, but your math ain't mathin'. You trying to pin this on us. Because what we should be doing is playing better, what is it, offense? Clearly, I'm not a sports person. Because what we should be doing is putting heat on their asses. White women, y'all need to be voting in droves for Kamala. Unless y'all want to be reliving, or not reliving, but unless y'all want to, well, I guess in some cases reliving, but in case y'all want to be living The Handmaid's Tale, you need to be coming out. We need to see your fundraising numbers. Y'all seen ours. What's yours? You doing some bake sales? What you doing? You got a Zoom call? I need to see y'all numbers. I need to see your work. You know, you in school and the teacher's like, oh, look. Wait, no. Let me see your work. We need to see your work. These corporations, yeah, I need to see your work. Where you running that money to? Let me not see Alec and the Heritage Foundation on that list. Because what we need to do is be conscious about where we spend our dollar, where we consume our time. Because we need to have economic self-sufficiency. Otherwise, another generation is going to come and black banks are going to be gone. HBCUs are going to be gone, right? What institutions do we actually own, right? Oprah has a studio. Tyler Perry has a studio. Spike Lee has a studio. Entertainment? That's fine and all, but like, with all that shit that was going on that I talked about last week with the airplanes and stuff, it'd be nice if we had a soul plane. Just saying. We need economic self-sufficiency. That's why other people get their stuff done. Oh yeah, white women voted for Trump over Hillary. They'll vote against their own interests. Like I said, there's that video circulating around talking about why they can't vote for Kamala because they don't know what she did, and one said she doesn't seem that smart. Oh man, I know. Okay, I've been talking for a while. I gotta go in the comments. All right. I see y'all. Y'all are rocking with me tonight. Yay. Okay. Oh, Picky Girl is in the house. And y'all, she just celebrated 8 years abroad. So head to her channel after this and definitely watch her anniversary video and give her congrats. Yes, 10-year anniversary of Eric Garner, murdered for selling Lucy's. I remember when they killed Eleanor Bumpers. Yeah, the list for our people is too long. And the growing list of black women. Malcolm X said the most unprotected, disrespected is the black woman. Yes, Nicole. Hope and fear at the same time is a strange emotional place. Oh, yeah. This weekend was a roller coaster. And especially because I had been following the Sonya Massey murder before the video came out. So I knew it was coming out Monday. And then it was like the news about, Joe. And then I was like, ooh, wait till this hits. Right? And let me tell you, when it's other people, think about it. People said that they had problems with Israel invading Gaza and obviously what we now know to be a genocide, right, going on. The Hague has even said y'all need to get up out of there. This shit is illegal. Basically, the U.S. is a co-conspirator. But my point is, people lost their jobs because they were like, oh, well, if you're not for this, you're anti-Semite, and you're anti-Semite, and you are a supporter of Hamas. People lost their jobs for saying that. They kill us in our own home. And people will be like, oh, well, I mean, right? To blame the victim. Or say some slick shit at work, right? Oh, what do you think about Kamala's run? Or something else. Be prepared. Start working on your scripts so that you're not at a loss. You already know what's coming. Have your scripts. It ain't about me. What are you doing? America is still a very segregated place. Nimrata Haley can, and Uncle Tom Scott can keep trying to sell us this colorblind society and America's not a racist country garbage, but it is. It is, right? There are big swaths of the U.S. where there are no black people. And even, I lived in New Jersey, right? Could go over a couple towns, go to a school, and I may work with white people. They may work with me, but you go to where their kid goes to school, and no black people. None. Not even a teacher. They don't have a problem with it. They don't have a black doctor. So it ain't about who I'm voting for, y'all. We need to be pushing on them. Push. Apply pressure. Now, some of y'all might be like me, right? Might be already abroad, might be considering moving abroad. You can still vote from abroad, right? There are ways, it's easy to vote from abroad. I registered at the beginning of the year. They sent me my ballot. It's all good. Because I still have a horse in this race. But again, you got to do that. And while I'm perusing some of the comments, I do want to make some note of something that I don't want it to be lost. Is, because again, this is a very nuanced conversation, is I want you not to lose momentum, right? I love the excitement around Kamala. I love all of the good energy. But it goes back to what I said before about euphoric recall. Euphoric recall will have you thinking about the feeling that you had in 2018 about the excitement of an Obama presidency, right? But remember that the Dems lost, right, in the midterms. And then he was pretty much handcuffed for the rest of his time. So don't just get excited about the big election, because I go back to what I said before about the Republicans playing the long game. Even when they've lost sight of the big cheese, they said, oh, let's do our little bidding in the other places, meaning in schools, superintendents, sheriffs, county judges, federal judges, right? So that when they were ready to execute a big 925-page manifesto like Project 2025, it seems more probable than not. All they need now is to move the big cheese. And damn if his skin don't look like orange cheese. Anyway, all they needed to do was move the big cheese into place, the Manchurian candidate, to make it work. So that's why you can't lose sight of the elections. That's one. Two, I love the momentum. You have to vote. But remember, Hillary won the popular vote. And 45 still became 45. Gore. The court intervened in 2000, right? So it's not to say don't vote, but definitely recognize that there needs to be more strategy in this. And the Electoral College, which was implemented during slavery or post-slavery, right? Because they wanted to make sure that the South still had some shit. Anyway. Oh yeah, should add that to the list. Abolish the Electoral College. We want that too. Is making sure that she can get to 270. She has to have a path to 270. If she can't get that 270, that's a wrap. So some people, who knows who her VP candidate might be. I would hope it would be somebody who's strategic, who can get her to 270. Right? From one of them states that can get her to 270. Joe stalled out, last map I saw, at 223, I think it was, to Orange Dude's 272. People are talking, they have their opinions, talking heads on all these shows, that's great, but I need to see some polling data. I know it's still fresh, but I need to see some polling data. I need to see some models that show a path to 270. Might be premature, I recognize, because one, she's the presumptive nominee, and also because she hasn't named her VP candidate. But this is what you want to keep track of, right? Yes, encourage people to vote, do voter drives, donate money and all of that, but elevate the conversation, because I've been doing that in social media. I see people talking, some of these pundits and stuff. I be in them comments. How we gonna get to 270? Because while this is a time to educate people about some of these issues that, quite frankly, Americans have been complacent and been rocked to sleep for years, and now the stakes are high and people are like, oh shit, let's start paying attention. It's also an opportunity to educate about systems that are institutional, that also work against our interests, like the Electoral College, and why it needs to be dismantled. Because you can disenfranchise a whole bunch of people through that process alone. Thank you, Karen Louise. Yes, filter, protect your peace. Protect your peace. Buy a plane ticket. Take a sabbatical. Move abroad. Hey, Deborah. Yes, the stakes are high. Think about it. Like I said. And men, black men got to be in there too. I know Stephen was in the comments, and my brother. Because guess what? You have siblings, sisters, aunties, cousins, grandmas. Like I said, every man came out of a vagina. Like, y'all got a horse in this race too. Yes. They kicked the can. And those other police departments should be held accountable, which is why Orange Dude can't be the guy, because he's going to give them immunity, which also could mean that would prevent in theory, that could prevent uh, federal investigations into the misdeeds of local law enforcement. And remember, local law enforcement, to the extent that it has become, right, a very militarized system, was born out of chattel slavery. Everything has been an optimization. Stop thinking that your vote doesn't count. Stop thinking the small elections aren't important. That's why we have the Satan in Florida, banning books and picking fights with Mickey Mouse. Yeah. And they should be held accountable. It's not too late to hold them accountable. Get on LinkedIn. Be putting these people on blast. Some people are so scared. They you can't be, some of these people, and I've worked with a couple of them, be just trying so hard to pick me, pick me. Proximity to whiteness will not save you. Stop. Because you look stupid. Oh, yeah. There's the good people out there. Absolutely. Look, I consider myself to be one of them. Absolutely. Hey, Yakota's in the house. How are you? Yes. I know. I struggled all week. I was like, ooh, go to the light, Krishan. Go to the light. And then I was like, no, they must be told. I disagree. I disagree. I think we can. I think we just have to. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be flip the switch because, we've let it go on too long. But the more that we believe that we can't and we don't believe in our own power, then yeah, it'll come to pass. And that's why I love, now that I live in Europe and seeing and interacting with people from, different nationalities, different ethnicities. And man, as I'm telling you, them French know how to protest. They tear shit up. Okay. Oh, you want to raise, the retirement age. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you want to tax me on this. Oh, we just going to burn manure. We're going to throw it in the tax office. Like, they don't play. These countries that have, like, what we would call universal health care or socialist medicine, or, we're about to go into August next week. And I was on a call, I've been on calls all day. And and the guy was like, you do know about August, right? Because I was like, oh, when can we do it? He's like, you do know about August, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Everybody is on holiday, okay? Everybody is on holiday. They know their rights. You can't call these people off hours. You can't text them. It's against the law. There's so many worker protections. Meanwhile, in the U.S., union busting, all of this. I remember this one job in particular, a lot of targeting that was happening, right? You ain't doing all that stuff in these other countries. Because people know their rights. But honestly, I would say Gen X, right, my generation, was probably the last generation that had civics taught in the classroom. Because if you don't know your rights, you're going to think, oh, I can't change it. Like I said, before I even graduated college, I was well, when I was in high school, I was volunteering in political. I remember Mayor Dinkins at a luncheon, and then went my last year of school was working in the legislature, and then got hired on to speaker staff, negotiated the state budget for a number of years, became a lobbyist, that whole thing. My thing was, I'm going to work on the inside to fix this thing. Naive. But it was good learning. Nothing is wasted. Why? Because I can expose this shit today. Yeah, voting rights bill has not passed. So we need to apply pressure. It can't keep, killing us in our homes, stressing us the hell out, you know. And what I see is, because the cost is high, and I guess it gets to my last point, and I know I'm going to have to start wrapping it soon, is, right, part of that is the wellness, what that does. And I've had Dr. Kimani on this channel, had different people come on, talk about different things related to wellness, is there's a weathering that goes on with Black people, Black women in particular, in terms of what that does to us, right? Hair falling out, sleep disturbances, hormonal imbalances, weight gain, right? Unexplained ailments, gastrointestinal disorders. These are the very real consequences. High blood pressure, premature death. I added another one now. I got to add another one. Pushing on the APA. It's been a couple of years since I got my MSW, but I think it's the APA that produces it. Adding racial trauma to the DSM-4. Oh, well, no, they're probably up to DSM-5, right? I think DSM-5 or DSM-6. My clinicians, y'all don't know what that means. But racialized trauma is killing us, right? Because once you add that to the DSM, it's a game changer. Wait, what is this, Karen Louise? My tech company gave us Juneteenth as a holiday with an African American DEI VP. Fast forward to 2024, and they took the holiday away, and now the DEI quit due to gaslighting her. Really time for me to get out. Wow. Very similar to what happened at the company I used to work for. I'm sorry, Allison. This is sad. I'm so tired. Yesterday I thought I was having a heart attack and I refused to call for help. Why? Because I didn't want to for sure be dead. Wow. I'm so sorry. Most likely that was a panic attack. And that happened to me quite a lot in 2020. And very same reaction, right? Not wanting to call for help. We have to start asking for help. We have to get in communities. And I know some people watch these and don't go in the comments. Some people take it on that they can do it on their own. Some of you have taken advantage, especially as of late with everything that's happening, to come into Blaxit Global Passport or to sign up for coaching. Um, do that. Take advantage of these things. And I'm not just saying me, like whomever you feel comfortable with, right? It's not the messenger, it's the message, right? You're most welcome, Edith. It's necessary. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. They had a list, last list I saw, um, and it had Toni Morrison on there, Alice Walker, Lupita Nyong'o, the actress. Yeah. I say we have to be buying these books because if they do ban them, you know. But again, it goes back to what I said about institutions. We have to have economic self sufficiency. Walmart is a huge employer in the United States. And what also is true is that Walmart has one of, if not the largest amount of its employees that also receive welfare. But yet, when you look at the billionaires in the United States, quite a bit of the top 10 billionaires are from the Walmart family. Not just Walmart, right, as a brand, individuals. Which is why I go back to economic self sufficiency and keeping our dollar within our community. Why do you think we still have Rockefellers, Disney, Waltons, right? The Walmarts, legacies. We have to shore up the ship because most of our wealth doesn't go past a current generation. Aretha died without a will. Prince died without a will. Chadwick Boseman died without a will. And these are just celebrities. So if they didn't do it, odds are you or somebody in your family has not done it either. We have to shore up the ship. You know it's a mosquito bite. The FBI already said they weren't even sure if it was shrapnel. I ain't seen nothing. And then, not to digress, but I will. Accountability. So you got a bee sting, right? And and possibly Hollywood blood. Who knows? But my point is, the doctor that like made the statement intended to you has an expired medical license for 5 years. Like everyone around this motherfucker is shady. I used to have 5 cats or 4 cats at one point in my life. And at that point, I didn't have children. Yeah. JD Vance. JD Vance don't even like Trump. They call his they call him the DI candidate too. Mm. Just reading some of these. Oh man, yes. I'm telling you, goes back to what I said. We gotta keep it in house. Yeah, he said it. I watched it. Thanks, Jess. Yes, I have the Nomad Noir crew coming in. I'm gonna be hopping and popping with them all month. I did not want to worry about my hair. But here's the deal. The court overturned Roe v. Wade, even though those lying asses during confirmation said that they wouldn't touch it. But so remember, precedence doesn't matter to them. Anything amended can be unamended. Then one of them stupid, I'm going to try and limit the profanity. One of them stupid people got up there and was like, we need to invoke the 25th Amendment because if Joe can't run for re-election, then he's not fit to do his job. Oh, now look, I ain't taking up for Joe because free Palestine. I ain't taking up for Joe. My point here is Orange Dude incited an insurrection. Pence, even though they called for his head, didn't support invoking the 25th, nor Turtleneck, right? From Kentucky. Okay. They don't play by their own rules, and that's why you have to have your own rule. You have to have your plan. Your plan can't be their plan. Like, oh, I'm gonna see how this shit shakes out. I didn't care whose ass was in the office. Joe's technically in the office. I still left last year, right? Because you have to be clear on your why. Yes, that's my job. Yes, because I could just be on yachts. Yes, absolutely. And that's why like it's important to, and I appreciate you all being patient and rocking with me in this conversation because it is nuanced and sometimes these details are, all relevant, but being able to articulate it is a nuanced thing. I know, right? I hope so too. I was looking to see if there's any other questions. All right. I think we got it. Yeah, they tried to get all this stuff on Obama, and all they got on him was he wore a beige suit to a press conference. Yes. Love it, Steven. That's what I want to see. Get out. I ain't got no problem with that. Give me my check. I will see you later. See you never. Oh, and if they give me my reparations check, can I renounce at the same time? That's a fair exchange. Then I had to pay taxes to them jokers. I think there's like 3 left. Maybe 3. Maybe 3. Because when I was working 8 years ago, there was one in Newark, and that one went down. Oh yeah, yeah. And look about, and I didn't know this until not too long ago, about the concerted effort they did to basically remove several, which they had, medical schools, because we talk about, oh wow, why don't we have more black doctors? But definitely do your Googles, because there's a whole thing about it. They've been coming for us for a long time, and we can't be complacent. Yes. Absolutely not. They don't play the long game. They don't. Yeah, we can't be lulled into a false sense of security, because there are going to be some people, right, whether they watch this or not, that are going to be like, okay, I voted. She'll go into the office, right? That's a hard job. I don't want that job. I'm glad that it's going to be a black job, but I don't want that job, right? So it's going to be a hard job, right? You can't be everything to everybody. You can't please everybody, right? I'm not all things to everybody. Some people got my comments over last week's video and was like, I don't want to hear about your Pilates. I'm sorry, the person that I didn't know was alive like 5 minutes before you made that comment. I don't know you, right? Like, you can't be everything to everybody. So when she's not that, or the media only shows one side, right, to feed a narrative, what's going to happen? There's going to be, that's why you have to have something bigger than that. That's why you also have to have accountability. You have to say, like, hey, right? We need to stop the pandering. When these white electeds start meandering into black churches, y'all need to stop letting them in. Everybody can't be invited to the cookout. Can't be inviting them to the cookout and then get mad that they appropriate your shit. Oh man, if Kamala manages to get into the White House, you know, Billy Bob and his little toothless brother gonna be trying to put their little nickels together and trying to they're gonna go to Mexico, and Mexico's gonna build a wall. Maybe Kamala coming into presidency, get them to bounce their ass up out of there. But don't come to Europe. Damn straight. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on those jokers. Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. I ain't staying for no check. I'll tell you the routing number if you do if you do get it. Because here's the deal. This system is working as it was designed to. Gore v. Bush was in 2000. We are in 2024. 24 years have passed, right? Okay. You mean to tell me I can move money from country to country, different currencies? I can set up a business online. I can vote for the next American Idol. But voting for the President of the United States or any election, right, is mirrored in, all kinds of things: foolishness, shenanigans, conspiracy, the whole bit. Remember when the postmaster that 45 put in, talk about a DEI job, since they claim, DEIs didn't earn it? Yeah, right. Psh, yeah. What was he doing? He was taking mailboxes and moving them. They know our power, which is why they're trying so hard to hold us back and keep us down. No water in the polling places, moving mailboxes and all that stuff. Playing in our faces. Don't let them apply pressure. Apply pressure. Talk to your kids about, what's going on. Talk to your young relatives. Encourage them. Study abroad. Get out. Hey, Eve, how are you? Yeah, now it's time to flip the script. But that's what I mean about economic self-sufficiency. If you didn't have to worry about where your next check was coming from, then you could be more vocal, right? I know. I be trying with these analogies. I suck at them. It's okay. I've accepted my lot in life. No. And Portuguese people ain't thinking about us like that. There was a fight today, though. It was like, like 4 hours ago. I was doing an interview like right before. And I'm sitting there. I was trying to relax because I was like, I had like 2.5 seconds. And I hear all this melee outside. I'm like, what? And I look, and all of these kids got in a big ass fight. But I'm in Portugal, so I ain't got to worry about no guns or nothing. They just had it was like 40 or 50 kids. It was a lot. I don't even think the police came because I didn't hear any sirens. People were looking outside. Somebody came. The girl was walking away. Some people followed her. And then it went on for about 10 minutes. But yeah, ain't nobody bothering us. I know. They got banned or, put into YouTube purgatory. That's what happens to you when you piss me off. I just go, I will never see you again. Okay, I think I got to everything. Oof, I was not intending to go 2 hours, but this conversation was really important, and a lot of things needed to be said. So with that, I'm hoping that next Thursday, America won't do anything too cray-cray that can't get me back to my levity. But nevertheless, I'll be back next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat station. I hope that you are all well and covered with peace. Please take time to journal, take baths, listen to your favorite music, tune out the noise, get in community, whether it be Blaxit Global, whether it be anyone, like get in where you fit in, get in multiple places, right? I will add those links that I mentioned earlier to the description of this video before I go to bed so I don't forget. And yeah, just be well and be kind. Be kind. Know your circle and form that bond, because we can move mountains. Just like the brothers and sisters that raised millions over the weekend. That's why they're shook, right? So they have awakened the sleeping giant. Let's rise up. Rise up. Okay. See y'all next week. Be well. Ciao.